Welcome back. As every crypto is dropping or has dropped over the past week and month, we're now hearing that El Salvador's Bitcoin accumulation needs to stop. That's at least what the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, says in a recent agreement with the country. So, how does this relate to what is going on in the markets? Well, in my view, it just kind of goes into everything that's been happening from the post Trump pump, right? After Trump was elected, the markets went through the roof, and now they're kind of settling back down as the overall geoeconomic situation is still a little bit unsure of with the wars and with potential tariffs between different countries and retaliatory tariffs. And so, how is this all going to affect the market? Well, we're going to be exploring all of that today. We're going to talk about El Salvador. We're going to talk about infighting in the communities, but we're going to start right here with Tom Lee because Tom Lee from Fundstrat predicts that the market bottom is this week, the beginning of March 2025, and still sees Bitcoin closing the year at $150,000. Now, the reason I pulled this up first is because we're seeing across the board, Bitcoin erases all of its gains following the Trump crypto reserve announcement. The markets are plummeting, everything's dropping in half. I mean, we've been talking about this endlessly on the channel. I've been thinking, I'm like, are we really in a bull market or what is going on here? Because I mean, just in the day that I'm recording this video, Ethereum even dropped under $20,000. Bitcoin under $80,000. And so there is a lot of volatility because we're making these moves and then kind of recovering very rapidly. And so Tom Lee, he is traditional financial analyst with his company Fundstrat, but I've been following him for many years now. And he is, when he's talking about the macro, kind of the zoomed out picture of where the markets are going to be over the medium term and longer term, he's been very accurate so far. And he's been right more than I've seen him being wrong. And so, head of research at Fundstrat, Tom Lee, believes that markets are forming a bottom process and could bottom out as early as this week. He puts a lot of emphasis on the Friday job data. Now, remember, Friday is the crypto summit, Friday is jobs data. But we still have other catalysts at play here, right? We have the Federal Reserve meeting, we have the US budget situation that's coming to a deadline. And so we're also going to get inflation numbers. And generally speaking, I mean, kind of prices may be still going up and higher than what the Federal Reserve wants. But we just heard as well from, the Treasury Secretary Bennett that he wants rates to be lower. We've heard from Trump. He wants rates to be lower. And so I do think that we are moving into the situation where we are probably forming a bottom, and he believes that Bitcoin will finish the year higher than $150,000. Now, I don't know if he means all the way through the end of the year or just at some point. But his outlook comes amid economic uncertainty as we're going, with the Department of Government Efficiency. We're seeing a lot of layoffs in the government and also in the private sector as well. And so this jobs data is going to be really important to see. But I remind my viewers on a regular basis, stick to the fundamentals and understand what the fundamentals are in your early investments. And then it doesn't matter where the price goes, you know where the value actually is. BlackRock has just said if every millionaire in the US asked their financial advisor to get them one Bitcoin, there wouldn't be enough. And a lot of people forget about these facts. I mean, if you look at the US debt clock, you can see down here on the bottom right, US millionaires, meaning the number of millionaires in the United States, is about 23.3, 23.4 million. So we know at the maximum saturation, right, a max supply, there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin. Currently, we're in the 19 or 20 million Bitcoin area or supply that's been released, and some of that has been lost. Some of it is locked in long-term hold accounts and all of this. But either way, I mean, even if every millionaire wanted half of a Bitcoin, that would be about 12 million Bitcoin. I don't think that there's enough liquidity to fulfill an order of that. And this is just including US millionaires. If you look at millionaires around the world, I think that's closer to 40 or 50 million. Now, keep in mind, that sounds like a big number, but there's 8 billion people on the planet. So 50 million people is a very small percentage. It's literally the top 10% or top 5% of the population. I mean, look here, the top 1% of wealth in the United States. So to be considered in the top 1%, you need at about $19 to $20 million in net worth. And that's the top 1%, right? And so going from, $50,000 to $20 million is a huge jump for many people, to actually go from, the bottom 99% into that top 1%. But even if you just look at the millionaires, guys, there is not enough Bitcoin. And so then if you say, okay, well, what if every millionaire in the US wanted a quarter of a Bitcoin? Which, by the way, is very attainable for most people if you've been dollar cost averaging over the last many years, right? Under $10,000 to $20,000. You could have dollar cost averaged to a quarter of a Bitcoin at about $10,000, and a quarter of a Bitcoin would have been $2,500. Now it's $25,000 and probably going to continue to rise. And so this is part of the reason that I believe that the traditional financial institutions and banks and those, people who have their money in stocks, they freaking know that if Bitcoin continues to grow and get more kind of ongoing investments from retirement funds into the ETFs and things like that, like they know that this is going to be the best performing asset class forever, at least, in the foreseeable future. And so their investments in these other assets are not really going to be that enthusiastic from the investors. So you got to think like a Warren Buffett can hold his money in, but if the investors start saying like, I'm only making, let's say, 7 to 10% a year holding Berkshire Hathaway, but if I go into a crypto related fund, I'm going to be making on average about 25% a year, right? About 100% every 4 years. And so what are the investors going to do? They're going to pull their money out of the their traditional investment fund, let's just say Berkshire Hathaway. And then Berkshire Hathaway has to sell a portion of their holdings to offset that share selling. Especially if they have to buy back the shares and all of this, whatever. But then what happens? The price goes down, and then they know it. The millionaires and billionaires know it. This is why I think that, I've said it before. For years, J.P. Morgan said no Bitcoin, no crypto, and now they've opened up to it. And I think this is because they have integrated in. They already have their own blockchain. They already use their own stablecoin, and I'm sure that they're transacting in crypto, whether they're telling you or not, right? Because the numbers, the math behind Bitcoin don't lie. So just always think about that, right? If every millionaire in the United States, even if every other millionaire, 50% of the millionaires in the United States wanted a Bitcoin, it's not possible. It's not possible. And so this is really important why, Michael Saylor says never sell, why a lot of people will say that their goal is to be a whole coiner or whole Bitcoiner, to have a full Bitcoin, because you are guaranteeing yourself in a financial class that potentially could be generational wealth forever. So let me know what you guys think about that. Anyway, moving on, and potentially part of why the market has been dropping is there's an IMF or International Monetary Fund deal to ban public sector Bitcoin accumulation in El Salvador. And so, the IMF is looking to restrict Bitcoin purchases by El Salvador as part of an extended $1.4 billion funding agreement with the country. In the beginning of March, the IMF issued a new request for an extended arrangement under its fund facility to El Salvador. Basically, they're lending money to El Salvador, and in the agreement, they have filed several new documents, including staff statement update and a statement by its executive director for El Salvador. The technical memo of understanding indicated a condition of, quote, no voluntary accumulation of Bitcoin by the public sector in El Salvador. Additionally, the memo requested the restriction of public sector issuance of any type of debt or tokenized instrument that is indexed to or denominated in Bitcoin and implies a liability to the public sector. So essentially, they're saying no Bitcoin, period. This is very interesting because over the last few years, we've seen El Salvador try to raise Bitcoin bonds and try to raise money more in the new digital financial world. And now they're going to the IMF for $1.4 billion, which in the grand scheme of like government money, it's very, very little amount of money. And so then you have to ask the question, like, what else went on, right? Because to me, this would indicate that El Salvador needed $1.4 billion and they couldn't get it any other way besides agreeing or potentially agreeing to this thing to not buy more Bitcoin. Would that be worth $1.4 billion, that agreement? I don't know. I mean, that's for the people of El Salvador to decide, not you and I. But anyway, yeah, this could be potentially why the markets have been coming down as well. Samson Mao, who is a Bitcoin maximalist, he also said in regards to this whole situation, looking at the deadlines, they're likely to keep going, meaning El Salvador buying Bitcoin until June, July, or December of this year. So it's looking like just internal transfers for now. But if they keep buying Bitcoin through December of this year and you believe that the 4 year cycle is still in play and that Bitcoin will peak around the end of 2025, and that would be basically the indicator that we would be kind of rotating or moving into a bear market thereafter. That kind of lines up, right? Potentially, MicroStrategy is going to continue to buy the top, and at the end of the year, when we are at the whatever the Pico top is, that could be the end, and where MicroStrategy investors say, okay, no more debt. This is too risky that we're continuing to buy at these higher prices, especially if prices begin to come down at the in the December timeframe or whatever. And so maybe they're going to pause. Maybe El Salvador is going to pause at that point. And this could be an indication of kind of like that, yep, we're going to be rotating into a bear market. But that's still kind of a ways off. We're also hearing that Mexican billionaire Ricardo Salinas, who is well known for being a Bitcoin maximalist, he said that he has 70% in Bitcoin related exposure in his portfolio at this point. Every time we hear from him, he has more and more Bitcoin. So the Mexican billionaire, whose net worth is estimated to be around $5.8 billion, is a known Bitcoin proponent. 4 years ago, he said he was working to make his bank the first in Mexico to accept Bitcoin. He said, quote, recently, I've got about 70% in Bitcoin related exposure and 30% in gold and gold miners. I don't have a single bond and I don't have any other stock except my own. This is a very interesting number, right? Because the people who really believe in what we've been talking about, right? The supply demand situation, the fact that this is the ultimate store of value, it's a completely decentralized network. There's a lot of, a lot of focus going on Bitcoin and Bitcoin and blockchain related projects right now at very high levels of government, all the way down to just individuals building products and projects within the blockchain space. And so there is a lot of money that, over the years is going to be pumped into this new ecosystem. And so the maximalists who really truly understand this, I mean, most people who are in crypto, I mean, they're in crypto. They're not in like 5% of their portfolio. Like they're in a lot of their portfolio. And so this is where I've said, my view is that if everybody's in one asset, these assets potentially are not going to do as well as everybody thinks, right? But when you see the billionaires getting in here, it's like they know where money is flowing to. They know where big companies are kind of moving money and where their buddies who are other billionaires are putting their investments. And so this is why I said, like, looking at World Liberty Finance and their portfolio holdings gives me an idea of where the future of crypto, at least in the medium term, is going and what is being invested in, right? And what is that? This is Ethereum based coins. This is Bitcoin. That's pretty much it, right? Obviously, there's coins built on top of it like Aave, which brings us to the Aave story that I have somewhere here. Yeah, we're going to be talking about Aave in just a minute because Aave has a new tokenomics and a new kind of proposal here. But the reason I said Aave is because the World Liberty Finance also holds Aave, which is kind of within the Ethereum DeFi ecosystem. But these billionaires and World Liberty Finance, like they're not invested in any other real ecosystems outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum related products. That's it. Like that is it. And so when we see everybody saying, "Oh, Solana this, Solana that," guys, there are billionaires who want out, and they have certain targets that they're going for. I don't know whether their targets are going to get hit, whether it's $1,000 or $500, $300. I mean, Solana's already kind of moved very, very rapidly to the upside, and it's come down about 50%. Is this going to be a bear trap or a bull trap? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But a lot of these other coins, people have been asking about Pi Network. Guys, this happens literally every cycle with Pi, and nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows what it does. Millions of bot comments on YouTube from the Pi Network. Anyway, we can go through all of these, but that's not what this video is about. This was about the billionaire owning 70% in Bitcoin. And this brings up the other issue with what's happening in the markets right now. And this is that pro Trump techies, and by the way, this is what CNBC is saying, not what I'm saying. Pro Trump techies are enraged by President's crypto reserve announcement, causing an early rift. And I talked about this in yesterday's or 2 days ago, the video. Basically, the conversation is about whether it's Bitcoin and everything else or just Bitcoin. The president, obviously pardoned Ross Ulbricht. He signed an executive order. Just recently, he announced that the crypto reserve would include Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano, if not others as well. And, people are not really happy about this. Why? Well, a lot of it has to do with whether people believe that it's Bitcoin only, whether these other coins are actually doing anything for the good of the world, of the financial world. Like, is Solana just developing meme coins? Is Cardano going to tell us they're going to get a interoperation in another 5 years? Like, these are the questions that they're kind of asking. And this brought up a lot of kind of tension within the ecosystem. A major Trump supporter and big name in crypto joined the chorus. Billionaire Bitcoin investor Tyler Winklevoss, who also owns the Gemini crypto exchange, he said, if you care about the future of crypto, free speech, justice, liberty, and democracy, that basically coming out against the crypto reserve plan. He said, I have nothing against XRP, Solana, or ADA, but I do not think they are suitable for a strategic reserve. Only one digital asset in the world right now meets the bar, and that digital asset is Bitcoin. David Marcus, the former head of Facebook, Facebook's Libra crypto project. I think he also worked at Facebook or Google. But anyway, he said most, if not all, of the non-conflicted industry leaders are agreeing about this, basically agreeing with what Winklevoss is saying. Now it says Anthony Pompliano, who is obviously a Bitcoin maxi as well, he believes that, he says Trump is willing to propose an agenda of buying risky tokens on behalf of the US because the wrong people got to him. He said, we watch crypto projects, lobbyists, and special interest groups co-opt the president. They told the president that any crypto-related reserve should hold tokens that were made in America. This pitch was perfect trap for the president who ran an America First agenda. Now, as I said in my videos previously, I really, to me, it really doesn't matter because I don't think that they're going to hold any large quantities of these alternative coins. And I don't think that this is going to be approved by Congress, right? I think Bitcoin and Ethereum, maybe not even Ethereum. Overall, when it comes to the reserve situation, I kind of look at it like this. They can all fight back and forth. It doesn't really matter. Again, it's going to look like the ETFs that have a blend of cryptos. It's going to be mostly Bitcoin, mostly Ethereum, and very small percentages of everything else. Probably 1%, maybe less, or 2%, maybe 3%. But that's it. And, as time goes on, there's going to be other coins. There's going to be the conversation about, are we looking at the quality of what these coins do and why we're investing in them versus just being built in America or whatever, because that's going to cause a lot of other problems. And listen, at the end of the day, I don't think this is going to be the catalyst that drives the market all the way to all-time record highs. I really just don't. I think there's going to be other catalysts that are going to be pro-crypto. And probably integrations and companies starting to put Bitcoin in their balance sheet at a very slow pace, right? But all of that together and that all encompassing and AI getting, being able to transact and being able to use the Bitcoin mining companies to also produce high power compute for AI. This is all going to be very positive for your investing thesis and strategy. So you can, one, focus on what's going to be in the reserve and what's not going to be in the reserve. And should I buy the coin that I think is going to be in the reserve? Or you can look at like the fundamentals of these blockchains and say, where am I going to make money in this bull run? Because to be honest, it's not going to be in all of these other coins. Because as we discussed, where would the US be buying XRP from? They're not buying it from you. They're buying it from people who bought in at like 0.0005 cents or from Ripple from their escrow. Where are they going to be buying Solana from? Not from you. They're going to be buying the Solana from billionaires who bought in at pre-ICO prices at like 25 cents or 2.5 cents. Right? And the same thing in Cardano. So in my view, this is not like the biggest thing in the world. Grayscale holds Solana, very small amount in their blended fund. Bitwise holds Solana, very small amount in their blended fund. Same thing with Cardano, same thing for XRP. So I don't even know why we're having this conversation about like potentially 1% of the Bitcoin reserve in a shitcoin. Like I don't care. I don't care. But anyway, that's just me. I know a lot of other people do care, but at the end of the day, is there going to be money flowing in? Of course there is. But I, I, I don't know. I think that this is all just hype. I really do. I really do. Anyway, moving right along, Aave DAO proposes a buy and distribute program for Aave. And again, Aave is talking about all these programs, and also the World Liberty Finance, Trump organization. They actually own Aave as well. So we're going to go through the full thing. It says Aave contributors present the most important proposal in our history, and the token price has jumped based on these tokenomics. Now, it's jumped, but it's still down relative to where it was when the announcement about World Liberty Finance buying Aave, it pumped to like, I think $350, something like that. Yeah, $375. I bought Aave down here, right, in the $80, $90 range and sold up here. Now it's come down fairly substantially from 375 to 209, so almost 50%. Does it have more to come down? I think so, and unless there's other catalysts in the market, because you have to remember this is a relatively small market cap coin, and not a lot of people are like actively trading it. And so this is why when the Trump made the announcement, the Trump organization, World Liberty Finance, made the announcement of buying Aave, the price kind of went straight through the roof because people were like so excited and kept buying it. But again, they were buying, you're supposed to buy before somebody makes an announcement like that, right? Not after, because obviously, unless you're going to buy and sell on the way up, you're probably going to end up in losses because you're going to just hold for too long. But anyway, there are real tokenomics and real product behind Aave. So Aave's initiative founder posted an Aave request for comment proposal seeking approval for the first phase of Aavenomics update, focusing on Aave tokenomic improvements, protocol excess revenue distribution, secondary liquidity protocol management, and the deprecation of lend. He said, after half a decade of hard work with the ACI, we're proud to present the updated Aavenomics proposal to the Aave DAO. We consider it the most important proposal in our history. Feel free to read and provide feedback. ACI is a delegate and service provider with the Aave DAO responsible for governance, participation, proposal creation, and strategic development in the Aave protocol. It follows the Aavenomics temperature check, which was approved in August of last year, in a move that could lead the DeFi lending platform to adopt a fee switch to return some of the platform's net excess revenues to its key users. This proposal could set the stage for potential Aave protocol restaking in the future, creating new revenue streams, according to this user. Now, this is exactly what it says. It says this proposal seeks governance approval for the first part of the implementation of updated Aavenomics, updating Aave tokenomics, protocol excess revenue redistribution, deprecating lend, and updating the Aave secondary liquidity protocol management. This proposal is the natural continuation of the temperature check presented in July of 2024 and approved by governance in August of 2024. It is suggested that the readers of this current proposal familiarize with the temperature check for better context. The current proposal is focused on implementing Aavenomics and is meant to be more concise than a temperature check for improved readability. It's probably going to pass. It's probably going to get implemented, and this is going to be interesting for Aave and for Aave users and contributors, so that there is more incentive to use the network and build on the network. If there's more incentive to use and build on the network, more people will come to build on it. More people come and build real products that can be used. This is going to more people are going to use it. More people use it, more people build on it. More people use it, more people build on it. And that's what brings real value to these ecosystems, right? Increasing their average users, increasing their implementation of integrations in traditional tech, and also this new world of DeFi tech. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it. Bitfarms update. A lot of people have been saying, Cryptoviser, what is going on with Bitfarms? Bitfarms, I mean, it has plummeted with the rest of the market. I mean, these Bitcoin, or most of the Bitcoin mining stocks have come down fairly substantially. You could see Bitfarms down to $1.06, the beginning of March, $1.06. Could it be going lower? I mean, absolutely. Will it be? I hope not. I mean, for all of these, I mean, Marathon Digital just a few weeks ago was at $30, half of that. Riot Platforms, we were at $15, half of that. Bitdeer just had a big run up recently, and now it's 1164 from $26. So everything's down about 50-60% in the Bitcoin mining space. But there is still a lot going on here. And so even though Bitfarms sold their facility in Paraguay, whatever, they have increased their exahashes per second. They It says here, during February, we grew our operational hash rate 6% to 16.1 exahashes per second and grew our average operational hash rate 20% to 13.4 exahashes a second, achieving all-time highs in 3 out of 4 countries. This growth will continue as we deploy miners in the US and Argentina to optimize performance across all of our data centers. And so they sold the facility in Paraguay, and they're going to be really focusing more on the US. Keep in mind, Bitfarms is still a Canadian-based company, but they're expanding in the U.S. and they're really talking about high-powered computing and AI. And this is, in my view, where the markets are going to be pumping money into over the next few years. Even if this is just a trade in your book, right? I mean, going down to guys, Bitfarms is about to buy, and this is the other part of what I was just talking about. They're going to be buying Stronghold, I think next week or the week after. I think it says something here about it. Maybe not. I pulled up also the Stronghold. It may have just been in the notes, but essentially the proposal to merge, it says on February 27th, 2025, Stronghold Digital Mining, SDIG, they held a special meeting. At the special meeting, the company's stockholders voted on and approved a proposal to approve and adopt an agreement and plan of merger that was dated August of last year and amended yada, 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 with Bitfarms. Okay, it's just giving some details. And this is approximately 99.6% of the votes cast at that special meeting, which is approximately 54.5% of the total outstanding shares voted to approve the merger. So basically 55% of all the shares voted, and 99.6% of the people who voted yes, merge. And so Stronghold, it says they expect the closing of the merger to occur in March of 2025. We're in March of 2025. Okay. So what does this mean? This means that Bitfarms stocks, I don't know whether they've already issued the new shares or whether they're using shares that they already own. But either way, they're purchasing Stronghold with shares. So if you hold Stronghold, you're going to get, I think, 2.5 shares of Bitfarms for every 1 share of Stronghold you own, approximately. And then that instantly increases Bitfarms exahash by 5 exahashes per second. So right now, their Bitfarms said that they increased to 16 exahashes per second. So this would mean that they're going to be brought into +5 because Stronghold has 5 exahashes. That would be 21.1 exahashes per second. This is putting Bitfarms in line with many of the large Bitcoin mining companies like Riot Platforms, Cipher Mining, Iris Energy, that are in the 20s and 30s of exahashes. But keep in mind, Bitfarms market cap currently 751 Canadian, which is about $500 million US. It should be, in my view, fair value of Bitfarms, even before the merger or after the merger. It doesn't matter. It should be at least $1 billion, if not more. Keep in mind, Riot Platforms also owns 20% of Bitfarms' entire stock. So this is a very robust company, in my view, highly undervalued. And just basically looking at their performance and their operational updates and the stats, to me, it looks good. And to me, it seems that it's highly undervalued. Now, I could be biased because I own the shares and I've been talking about it for a while. That's possible. But all the Bitcoin miners are down. This one is $500 million with 21 exahashes per second. They're about to buy the other company. They're owned by Riot Platforms as well. I mean, you guys do the math. The math to me adds up. For you, maybe it won't, but let me know down below what you think about everything we discussed today, why the markets are down. Are you buying? Are you deploying money? Are you selling? What are you doing? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you when I see you. Crypto on.